Clary, my husband tells me he works late at the office every day, but something feels off. I feel like he's cheating on me. Can you help? Well, babe, you came to the right place. If you're interested in catching a cheater, give me that subscribe and keep on watching. Hi guys, welcome to the curlycalculus channel. I'm Clary and I've been a math tutor for the last 10 years of my life. And being a math tutor, I've had to come up with pretty creative ways to help students understand math. I don't know about you, but for me, I love watching YouTube videos where they talk about what someone did after they found out their partner was cheating on them, the types of excuses their partner came up of, and I thought, you know what, we could easily determine that with math if he was cheating or not. Now, before heading into the question, I also want to say that this can be used if you don't think your boss is actually paying you what you earned. The example I'll be using goes over hourly pay, which specifically requires overtime pay laws to apply. Now, before we actually start solving this problem, let's use the scientific method to break down what we're actually trying to look for. The first step is to make observations. So what do you observe? He's staying later at the office, something just seems off. Those are observations that you're making. So now ask a question. The question is he cheating on me? But that's actually the result of more questions being asked. So one thing that you may want to ask at first is he lying about the amount of time he's actually spending at work? And if he is at work and clocked in, is he lying about what he's doing at work? So here it looks like the manipulated variable is the time he spends at work. And the most obvious resulting variable is how much money he's making. Just as a reminder, this is only for hourly workers where overtime laws can apply. If you're not quite familiar with how overtime pay works, let me explain that. Up until 40 hours, a person is paid their pay rate times the number of hours they worked. Now, for overtime pay or holiday pay, this means that any hours worked above 40 hours on a normal week or hours worked on a holiday are going to be at time and a half rate, meaning 1.5 times your pay rate. So if it's a normal work week without any holidays and you worked 50 hours that week, that means up until 40 hours you're paid the normal pay rate, but that extra 10 hours, because it's above 40, gets paid at time and a half. My friends, that can be expressed as a piecewise function, so why don't we just start solving the problem? Here you're going to see me using various tools in Microsoft, such as Microsoft PowerPoint, such as Microsoft PowerPoint, Microsoft OneNote, and Microsoft Excel. I use all of these prolifically. Now, enough of hearing me talk. Let's get to solving the problem. Is your husband cheating on you? An algebraic approach to family law. This PowerPoint and all materials will be available for purchase. This problem is designed to mimic my homework for my engineering thermodynamics class. Expect that it will be vaguer than most of you are used to when it comes to math problems. What thermodynamics taught me is to be confident in making assumptions when I do not have all the details. If you're catching a cheater, you will not have all the details. Consider the following. Maggie is a stay-at-home wife. Her husband works 4 days a week, Monday through Thursday, 10 hours a day. Sometimes he is called in on Fridays. Maggie notices something off with her husband and suspects he's cheating. How would you determine if Maggie's hunch is correct? List all your assumptions. This is very important when giving answers when you don't have every detail. Like I said earlier, notice the vagueness of the question. You will need to be confident in your assumptions. Are they reasonable? Do they make sense? This will make you better at math. Let's review the circumstances. Just in any math class, rewrite the problem. From here we can assume that her husband works hourly, meaning overtime pay laws apply. Working overtime isn't out of the ordinary, but it would be on Fridays. And for the sake of easy math, let's say that he makes $30 an hour. And lastly, we assume that Maggie does not bring any income into the household. So next, let's talk about total household income. Since Maggie is a stay-at-home wife, we assume that she does not bring in any money. However, this is not necessarily true. For the sake of argument and to keep our math simple, we will disregard her contribution to the household. So the total household income can be expressed as the sum of the income. And the sum of the income is equal to Maggie's income added to her husband's income. We already assumed that Maggie's contribution is negligible, so the sum of the income equals her husband's income. That income I will call P of T, or pay variable by time. Revisiting the assumptions I made, I assumed that he worked hourly, so overtime pay laws apply. So let's address what that looks like. We have two situations, before and after 40 hours of work. Before 40 hours, it's normal pay. After 40, it's overtime pay. Up to 40 hours, including 40, it's the pay rate times the number of hours worked. Any time worked above 40 hours is overtime, or time and a half, added to the 40 hours at normal pay. Pause this video if you need time to think about how this piecewise function works. We should pretty this equation up though. Notice how the r shows up twice? That can be factored out. So we put brackets around both terms, but we need to pretty this up even more. The 1.5 should be on the left side of the parentheses for no other reason other than it looks pretty. So now we have a prettied equation where the r shows up only once and it's easier to read. I know several of you are confused, but keep on watching for the full explanation. R stands for hourly rate, T is for time worked each week, and P stands for total pay. The units are dollars per hour for R, hours for T, and dollars for P. Please save this equation. Now let's consider overtime work. Remember that he is sometimes called in to work on Fridays. If that's the case, assume that he has the same 10-hour shift as his normal shifts. Makes sense, right? If he needs to work another shift, it's likely that his supervisors need him to produce a normal output just for an extra day. Now an expectation. If he is working overtime, there should be a significant increase in each paycheck. Let's assume paychecks roll out bi-weekly, and for a personal touch, my own paychecks show that deductions and taxes make up around 30% of my gross pay. So multiply P of T, the equation we determined to be Maggie's husband's income, by 0.7 to get the take-home pay. Now why don't we write it out and determine some solutions? I'll first use Microsoft OneNote to write. After, I'll verify the math with Excel. I'm going to upload both of them to my channel as separate videos. If you're invested in this drama and have time to kill, keep on watching. Let's draw!